Gather round the campfire, friends. I've got a chilling tale to tell you. A true story more terrifying than any horror movie. It's the mystery of Maribel Ramos and the roommate from hell.
There are very few clues as to what happened to her, but police are saying her disappearance is considered suspicious.
She left behind her much-loved dog. She left behind her vehicle, and there's been no recent activity on her cell phone or credit card.
Smart and determined, Maribel, a loyal Mexican-American daughter and sister, was an Army veteran who had served abroad. And now, she was working towards her criminal justice degree while bettering other veterans' lives through support groups. Though busy, Maribel uncompromisingly made time for family, whether spoiling nieces or taking in a down-and-out roommate. It's a warm California evening when Maribel's sister Lucero gets an ominous text. Maribel's roommate is worried. Maribel hasn't come home, but Lucero brushes it off. Her sister's 36. She probably just stayed out late, right? If only that were true. As the hours tick by with no word, Lucero grows uneasy. This isn't like Maribel at all, who is usually quite responsible. By morning, family and friends are searching for answers at her apartment. Peering inside, they glimpse blood-stained pajamas and disheveled sheets, but no Maribel. Her purse, phone, and keys have vanished too. It's as if she disappeared into thin air. Now, who is this worried roommate I mentioned? His name is KC, a 54-year-old Maribel took in from Craigslist 2 years back. To the family, quiet KC seemed nice enough at first. He and Maribel adored walking their dogs and even went on a cruise together. But over time, creepy behaviors emerge. KC secretly crushes on Maribel, getting her name tattooed on his arm. As she casually dates other guys, resentment poisons their friendship. The breaking point? KC hasn't paid rent in months. The night Maribel vanishes, she confronts him and gives him one last chance to shape up or ship out. Police uncover a 911 call showing Maribel barricaded herself in her room, afraid of how violently KC reacted.
Hi, Orange Police. Okay, well, I just want to let you know that I have a roommate that should be leaving at the end of the month. We had a conversation today that he kind of freaked me out. I'm not feeling comfortable around him anymore. I'm feeling threatened. What's your name? My name is Maribel. My name is... What's your last name, Maribel? Ramos Ariel. Okay.
She warns that if anything bad happens, to look at KC. Detectives don't like the sound of this call one bit, but with zero evidence a crime occurred, KC slips off their radar, for now. As days turn to weeks, turn to months with Maribel missing, Lucero knows in her gut who the villain is here. While organizing search parties, she notices eerie social media posts from KC, referring to Maribel in past tense, as if she's already dead and gone. KC also fakes a heavy Korean accent when questioned by police, despite being American-raised. Digging deeper into KC's past reveals a twisted history of threatening others' lives over money, even vowing to shoot his own sister and chop her into pieces. Detectives itch for hard proof to rein this lunatic in. Then comes an electrifying tip. Right after Maribel vanished, guess who switched rental cars? Shady KC. A cadaver dog sniffs out the grim truth. Someone died inside. But with no body, police watch KC's every move for the tiniest misstep. While visiting a public library computer, he brazenly researches if phones can be tracked when off, and how long human remains take to decay. Maybe those search terms seem iffy, but they don't prove anything solid. Yet. Officers stay glued to KC's every click until the fateful moment. While browsing upcoming events about Maribel, KC jumps on Google Maps, zooms in deep on a random forest 7 miles away, gazing upon a lonely tree. His face stone cold. Does KC know more than he lets on? Whatever sinister secrets lie in the shadows, one thing's for certain. KC isn't just creeping on Maribel's memorial Facebook anymore. Now he's creeping on her actual dead body. Within hours, police descend on that remote tree and discover that something was buried there. But what? Or who? Bracing for the worst, they unveil a makeshift grave with grisly remains inside, too decayed to ID at the scene. As the remains are gently collected for examination, investigators are sure they know who they have found. While circumstantial red flags pointed to Casey from day one, like worrying scratches he claims came from fishing line.
You get all these scratches on you.
We go to Eisenhower Park all the time. If you go there bushes, those are sharp-lipped bushes. We try to reach in there, grab the fish.
They lacked evidence to link his bizarre behavior with Maribel's vanishing. Until now. His smugness couldn't erase the map search history burnt forever into his library laptop. Virtual breadcrumbs leading them right where Casey wanted no one to look. Whatever secrets those woods held, the truth claws its way into daylight regardless. With their proof found at last, officers move to arrest Casey. But when they arrive, he literally leaps out a window, thinking he can escape what he's done. Of course, his desperate antics fail. Officers promptly haul him down to the station for intense questioning about his precious map search. Yet even cornered, Casey keeps quiet. No confession, no details, nothing. Only emotionless claims that he can't believe sweet Maribel has died.
I think that you have the answers in your heart, that you do, and that you should share them.
Crocodile tears from a cold-blooded killer. Without forensic evidence proving homicide, police can merely lock Casey up on suspicion. When the medical examiner finally confirms the recovered remains as Maribel's, the mystery is solved in that regard. However, with the body so badly decomposed and ravaged by animals, they cannot pinpoint her cause of death, officially ruled homicide by unknown means. Casey goes to trial, and prosecutors build a solid case. They paint a portrait of a delusional, financially struggling man so obsessed with his roommate that her rejection pushed him over the edge. Presenting the 911 call, her bloody pajamas, and finally Casey's map browsing history, they insist this evidence screams premeditation. He knew the woods well, they argue, having scouted the remote burial location to keep his future crime concealed. The defense, meanwhile, scrambles to plant seeds of doubt while avoiding any clear explanation. Maybe she got mysteriously ill and Casey merely panicked upon finding her dead? Or could fragile Maribel have died by her own hand? Who's to say? In the end, all that matters is, can we truly know how Maribel met her end? Or when? But what the defense never mentions is that regardless of those foggy details, Casey still chose to desecrate Maribel's body in the most undignified manner imaginable. As the trial hurtles onwards, her panicked 911 call rings out loud and clear. Maribel feared Casey would hurt her. And in the end, wasn't she right? Even if, by some dark miracle, he's not her killer? Few in the courtroom believe any nonsense about this so-called grieving roommate. Not when surveillance footage captures Casey coolly switching rental cars afterwards, clearly focused on concealing unwanted evidence. A week later, the jury returns with their verdict. Despite lack of forensic proof, they find the totality of clues too compelling to ignore. Casey avoids full conviction for first-degree murder, but is declared guilty of second-degree charges regardless. Yet even facing hardcore prison time, Casey continues denying everything. Come sentencing day, Maribel's family watches Casey learn his penalty. 15 years to life, no parole for a long time. As Casey's hauled off in handcuffs, this piece of garbage still refuses to express remorse or take accountability to the victim's family. Sitting front row, Maribel's sister Lucero burns with fury. She declares on TV that her family may not know how Maribel's last living moments played out, but they do know this. Casey killed her. That friend she opened her home up to had repaid Maribel's kindness by taking her life in the cruelest fashion. He deserves nothing better than dying alone behind bars. As the fire slowly dims tonight, my friends, I leave you to ponder. What possesses ordinary folks to commit such atrocities against those they supposedly care for? While we may never untangle the twisted roots of such viciousness, we can cultivate compassion for those left grieving.